Welcome to your weekly Leadership Principle by Coach AJ and the mentor team at Martin County PL. At Martin County PL, our goal is not discipline, it is growth. We meet youth where they are and help them develop into healthy, productive leaders for the future.
Hearing that mission statement again, meeting youth where they are,
Yeah,
it hits differently after sitting in that room on Wednesday night.
it really does.
It's not just a slogan, it's the actual mechanics of what we watched happen.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening, we want to take you right back into that session. We were there in the room for this week's lesson on growth. And honestly, it felt less like a classroom lesson and more like an intervention for everyone.
For everyone, including the adults in the room.
100%.
And to really set the scene, you have to understand the energy. It's Wednesday night, room full of teenagers. You've got some kids who are on week 4 or 5, still kind of feeling things out.
And then you've got the veterans, 16 weeks in, who carry themselves with this whole different kind of confidence.
Exactly. The room is buzzing, it's loud, it's that chaotic, kinetic teenage energy.
It really is.
But then there's this shift. Coach AJ takes the floor, and the chaos it funnels, it turns into focus.
And this week, the theme wasn't just about getting bigger or older. It was about sowing. S-O-W-I-N-G.
The seed metaphor.
Yep.
And I think the goal for this deep dive is really to take what those kids learned about being a plant and, hold a mirror up to the parents listening.
Yeah.
Because if the kids are the seeds,
The parents are the gardeners. Or at least you're the soil.
you're the soil, and that's a heavy thought to start with.
It is. So let's unpack how we got there. The session started with this icebreaker, and at first I thought it was just going to be fluff.
Me too.
But it turned out to be so revealing. Coach AJ had them write down 3 things: a physical strength, a mental strength, and then someone who helps them grow versus someone who holds them back.
And just watching them react to those prompts, that was the first big data point of the night.
What'd you see?
When he said physical strength, it was instant. Pencils down, heads down, writing, basketball, surfing, my jump shot.
They had that vocabulary ready to go. They've got metrics for that. They've got schools and stats.
For sure. But then came that second prompt, mental strength.
And the room just,
It went silent.
You could literally hear the AC unit hum. It was almost awkward.
It was. Coach AJ actually had to step in and prompt them. He was like, guys, don't write math. That's a skill. Write a character trait. Are you resilient, compassionate, patient?
So why do you think that gap exists? Why is it so easy for a 14-year-old to say, I'm good at football, but so hard to say, I'm kind?
Is it just because they're young? They haven't developed that self-awareness yet?
I don't think so. I think it's because we live in a performance-based world. We praise outcomes. We praise the goal, the grade, the trophy.
Right. We rarely praise the trait that got them there.
We validate what they do, not who they are. So when you ask them, who are you inside, they draw a blank. That makes so much sense. And it leads to that first big principle Coach AJ dropped on them. He said, weak seeds don't grow.
Weak seeds don't grow.
And I have to admit, that sounds a little harsh at first. Like, if a kid isn't good at something, do we just give up?
It sounds harsh, but think about it like a gardener. It's about energy allocation. You can't force growth where there's no natural strength. If you take a seed that's just not suited for that soil, no amount of water is going to turn it into a mighty oak.
So applying that to parenting, you're saying we spend too much time trying to fix their weaknesses.
Precisely. Think about a report card. Your kid comes home with 3 A's and 1 D in chemistry. What's the entire conversation about for the next 2 weeks?
The D in chemistry, every single time.
We obsess over the weed, we water the weak seed, and meanwhile, the curiosity of the discipline that got them the A's, that gets totally ignored.
So Coach AJ's point was you have to identify your strength. Those are your strong seeds, and you water those.
Exactly. And that's the challenge for you listening. Do you know your child's mental strengths? Not what they're good at, but who they are.
Because if you can't answer that instantly,
You might be watering the wrong things. Growth has to be intentional, not accidental.
I love that. Okay, let's get to the central metaphor of the night, the seed in the dirt. This part got pretty intense.
Yeah, it did. He described what it feels like to be a seed. You're buried. It's pitch black. There's all this weight on top of you.
Which is, what a perfect analogy for being a teenager.
It is. I was watching their faces when he described that buried feeling. You could just see them nodding. They feel buried by expectations, by drama, by school.
And the seed is down there thinking, is this it? Am I dead or am I just planted?
And that's where the session pivoted from the internal stuff to the environment. He asked the room a very specific question. He said, if I have a plant on this desk and it starts withering. What do you do?
And Timothy Sharp Kid up front, he didn't even hesitate. He just yelled out, "Take it outside, change the environment."
It's so simple, right?
Yeah.
But it's profound. If a plant is dying, we don't scream at the plant. We don't ground the plant.
We don't take away its form.
We check the soil. We check the light. But with our kids, if they're withering, acting out, failing, whatever, our first instinct isn't to check the soil. It's to blame the plant. Why are you acting like this?
What is wrong with you? That's a huge paradigm shift. Stop blaming the plant, check the soil. And speaking of soil, he did that live poll in the room.
The one about their environments? Home, school, and friends.
And the results were, they were pretty concerning.
The friends category was by far rated as the lowest growth environment. A huge chunk of the room said their friends hold them back or are bad influences.
Let's just pause on that. In a room full of their peers, they admitted that their peers are the problem.
That takes a lot of courage.
It does.
Yeah.
But then Coach AJ pressed them. He asked, why? If you know they hold you back, why are they still your friends?
And the answers were, man, they were heartbreakingly honest.
What stood out to you?
For me, it was two things. First, loyalty. I've known them since kindergarten.
And the second was that desire to fix them.
Ah, the savior complex.
Exactly. I can change them. But as a parent, you hear that and you think, well, loyalty is a good thing.
Of course it is. But there's a line between loyalty and self-destruction. And the lesson he hammered home, and this is critical for parents, is that biology doesn't care about your loyalty. If the soil is toxic, the seed dies. Period.
Wow.
If there's no sunlight, there's no photosynthesis, it doesn't matter how noble the seed's intentions are.
That's hard to hear. So if a parent is listening and thinking, I can't control my kid's friends, what's the move?
You might not control their friends, but you control the home. The parent is the home environment, so you have to audit your own home. When your child walks through that front door after being in the toxic soil all day, what do they walk into?
Do they walk into sunlight?
Or do they walk into a thunderstorm? Is your home a greenhouse where they can recover and grow, or is it just another place where they feel buried?
Are you the sunlight or the shade? That's the question I've been asking myself all week.
It's the essential question.
Yeah.
And it leads perfectly into the story Coach AJ told about behavior patterns, which I think was the highlight of the night.
Oh, the Lauren story, the Verizon story. This was great.
It really was.
And so, for context, Coach AJ used to manage a Verizon store. He had an employee, Lauren, great at sales, customers loved her, but she had one fatal flaw.
She was chronically late.
Always. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just could not get to work on time, which in retail is a disaster.
It's a culture killer. Everyone else sees it.
Exactly. So finally, Coach AJ has to draw a line. He sits her down and says, Lauren, I love you, but the next time you are late, you're fired. No excuses.
High stakes.
And it worked. That's the thing. She showed up early the next day. She was early for 3 full weeks. 21 days of perfect punctuality.
So the seed was growing. She was changing the habit.
But then, week 4, Wednesday morning, Lauren walks in, 5 minutes late.
And this is the moment that matters. Coach AJ asked the kids, what did the rest of the staff do?
And the whole room knew. They knew immediately. They all yelled out, aha, I knew it.
I knew it. 3 words that can just destroy growth.
Because the coworkers, they weren't cheering for her 3 weeks to success. They were waiting, they were watching for the one failure so they could slap the label right back on her. See? That's just Lauren. Lauren's always late.
In psychology, we call that confirmation bias. We look for evidence that proves what we already believe. They believed Lauren is late, so they ignored 21 days of being on time and pounced on the one day she wasn't.
And the kids in that room got it viscerally. You could see heads nodding all over. And this is the mirror for us as parents. How often do we do this to our own kids?
All the time. We really do.
Yeah.
Your son decides to clean his room. He keeps it clean for 2 weeks. He's trying. He's sowing the seeds. And then one day he leaves his jersey on the floor.
And the parent walks in and says,
You're such a slob. You never clean up after yourself.
and you just erased the 2 weeks of progress in one sentence.
You do. We value the gotcha moment more than we value the growth. And that's devastating because Coach AJ told the kids, you have to outlast your reputation. That is hard work.
So hard.
But if the parent is standing there with a hammer, just waiting for the first mistake so they can say, I told you so,
Then the parent becomes the barrier to growth.
you become the bad soil. The lesson for us adults is that we have to support the effort of the change, not just demand perfection. We have to be the one person who says, hey, I saw that you were late, But I also saw 3 weeks of you being on time. That tells me you can do this. Get back on track.
That's the difference between a boss and a gardener.
That's it right there. And it requires us to drop our ego because sometimes it just feels good to be right. We have to care more about them growing than about us being right.
There was another phrase from the workbook that I think frames this whole mindset shift really well. Grow through life, don't just go through life.
I love that distinction.
Going through life is passive. It's waking up, scrolling your phone, going to school, coming home, sleeping. It's just letting life happen to you.
It's drifting.
Yeah, but growing through life is active. It's owning your mistakes. It's making a choice to be different today than you were yesterday.
And one of the mentors, Bob, he had this little sniper shot of wisdom from the back of the room. He said, "You didn't pick the soil you were born in."
That hit hard.
It's such a profound truth. He told them, you didn't pick your parents, your zip code, your financial situation. And so many kids use that as an excuse.
Bob flipped it.
He did. He said, but when you start to sow better seeds, you change. It's about agency. We can't always change our circumstances, but we can always choose what we plant in the soil we have.
And part of that planting process, and this is the scariest part for parents, is failure. One of the 5 essentials for growth was simply, failure is not your enemy.
This is where modern parenting just gets it so wrong. We have a generation of lawnmower parents.
Lawnmower parents.
Yeah, we mow down every obstacle in front of our kids so they never have to struggle. We argue with the teacher for the grade. We intervene in their friend drama. We don't let them feel the weight of their choices.
We do it because we love them. We don't want them to hurt.
Of course. It comes from a place of love, but it results in weakness. Coach AJ frames failure as failing forward. If you catch them every time they trip, they never build the muscles to get back up.
And the world is going to knock them down eventually.
It is. Failure provides the data on what not to do next time. If you rob them of the failure, you rob them of the lesson. You're keeping them a weak seed.
Which brings us to the closing thought of the session, which I found really encouraging. Because all of this, it can feel overwhelming for a parent who's just trying to get dinner on the table.
But it doesn't have to be. They closed with the 1% rule.
You don't need a massive transformation overnight.
Right. You don't have to wake up tomorrow a completely different person. You just need to change 1%. The compounding effect of that is massive.
And Coach AJ looked at the kids, but I felt like he was looking right at all the adults. And he said, the garden will not change if the gardener does not change.
And that applies to the kids taking ownership, but man, does that apply to us as parents. If we want a different dynamic in our house, we have to change 1%. We can't demand they do all the work while we stay exactly the same.
So let's make this practical. The kids had an assignment. Identify a growth goal. We need a parent assignment.
Okay, here's the challenge for the week. Simple, but maybe uncomfortable. I want you to identify one weed in your parenting.
Just one weed. What does that look like? Give me an example.
It could be a reaction you always have when you're stressed, a specific phrase you use when you're angry, or that habit of confirmation bias, pointing out the failure the second it happens.
Okay, so identify the weed.
Identify it.
Yeah.
And just make a 1% change this week to stop watering it. Catch yourself before you say the phrase. Pause for 1 second before you react. Just stop watering that one negative behavior.
And if you want to be really brave.
If you want to be really brave, do what Coach AJ told the kids to do. Go to your child tonight and ask them this question. How can I help you grow?
Wow. How can I help you grow in your skateboarding? Or how can I help you grow in your kindness?
Exactly. And this is the hardest part, you just listen. Don't correct them. Don't defend yourself. Just listen. That act of listening, that's sunlight, that's water.
It shifts the whole dynamic. It goes from, I am the boss telling you what to do, to, I am the gardener helping you grow.
Exactly. And remember, you can't expect your child to grow through life if you are just going through life. They are watching you. Leadership is modeled, not mandated.
That is a fantastic place to leave it. It's about the soil, the seeds, and the gardener.
Growth is a choice,
Yeah.
and it thrives in the right environment. Parents, remember, you are the environment. Make it a good one.
Thank you for taking a few minutes to invest in your child's growth. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel, like or comment on this episode, and share it with other parents who care about raising strong, capable young leaders. If you would like to learn more about Martin County PIL or are interested in supporting or partnering with our program, please reach out. This work only happens because of people who believe in meeting youth where they are and helping them grow into who they can become. We appreciate you being part of that mission.